Mika?
NBC's Cal Perry, thank you. Fascinating. Let's bring in someone who took part in the very first Earth Day following his return from the war in Vietnam. Former U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry. Mr. Secretary, great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us.
We really do appreciate it, Mr. Secretary. We're going to reach a terrible milestone in the coming weeks. It's hard to believe we're going to get there, but if you look at the data, if you look at where the lines are going, where the numbers are going, probably by next week, more Americans will have died of COVID-19 than died in combat during the Vietnam War. And as someone who saw the human loss during that war and saw up close the scale of that loss and how it impacted an entire generation, I'm curious what your thoughts are as we do approach that grim milestone.
Well, Joe, it's great to be with you and with Mika and with the team, and I'm glad you're all well and safe in these difficult times. Obviously, it's a stark reminder that if you don't learn the lessons of history, you're doomed to repeat them. It's a different kind of dying, but it's coming from misinterpretation, from ignoring reality. It's coming from an unwillingness to respond to the truth and to the lessons that we have learned. The fact is that coronavirus may be America's moment of truth in the sense that a lot of us were despairing that we were losing the capacity to decide in our country, in our democracy, what the baseline of truth is. And there has been a different kind of war taking place. It's a war on science. It's a war on scientists. It's a war on facts. It's a willingness to completely distort the truth in favor of an ideology or a personal election pursuit or whatever. And we're losing lives for that, which is not dissimilar to what Richard Nixon, Lyndon Johnson, and others engaged in during that time of deception when America was lied to about the war in Vietnam. There's another similarity to this great cause that we face, really the monumental choice of generations now, which is responding to the climate crisis. The same willingness to distort the truth, to put your head in the sand and not pay attention to the facts, and mostly to listen to the experts, that has characterized coronavirus, which brings you a pandemic, is the same mischaracterization and avoidance of truth that has characterized the response to climate and the climate crisis. So what Corona is really saying to Americans is, hey, wait a minute, folks. It's important to listen to the experts. It's important to listen to scientists. It's important to find a baseline of truth and make the choices on it. So coronavirus may be America and the world's great wake-up call with respect to the challenge of climate, because this is coming at us. If you think pandemics are bad today, wait till you have the warming at a greater level than it is now, and we're headed there. Every scientific report and judgment shows that we are heading into amazing negative impacts. The feedback loops on the Earth are just horrendous right now. I'm not going to go through them all, but so that's the meaning of the deaths thus far. And yesterday was the highest number of deaths. And still, this president is avoiding responsibility for testing.